Shalawam, shalawam. I want to give all praises to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS, and peace and blessings to the elect. I just wanted to go into a real quick video on, the image of Yahawashi, the image of who the world, calls Jesus Christ, and how how it's a false image. By the way, Yahawah being the Father, and Yahawashi being the only begotten Son, When I'm first going to this though, right here, real quick. See, now this painting that I have on the right of me is the Mona Lisa. Very popular painting that Leonardo da Vinci painted. I got the info right here. It says who painted this. Leonardo da Vinci. The type of painting this is the oil type of painting, and all the dimensions of the picture. But I'm gonna just go straight into it. It says the Mona Lisa. It says it's a half-length portrait of Lisa Gherardini by the Italian Renaissance artist Leonardo da Vinci. It says which have been described as the best known, the most visited, the most written about, the most sung about, the most whatever that word is, work of art in the world. It says, I just want to get to the point. Shalaki. Yeah. It says the painting is a portrait of Lisa Gherardini, the wife of Francisco del Giocondo. Yeah. And it says, and it is an oil on a white. Not important. The point is it says, and believed to have been painted between 1503 and 1506. And it says Leonardo may have continued working on it in the late 1517. And it said it was acquired by King Francis I of France, and now the property of the French Republic. But the point is how long it took him to paint this picture. Because according to the dates that Wikipedia gives us, 1503 minus 1506 is approximately 3 years to paint this famous painting, And this is a well-known painting, and basically the point is how we take pictures today. It wasn't like that back in the 15th centuries. Like, they actually had to take time to paint pictures, and it took years. It didn't take seconds like how you take a picture on your phone. It took years. And got more proof of that on Quora.com. And it's I just typed in, it says how much time does it take to paint a realistic portrait painting, which this is on the right, the Mona Lisa. It's a portrait painting. And Kathleen Grace, 30 years artist, she has 30 years experience in this type of work. She said that you are asking for a simple answer to a very complicated question. It says every artist works differently, and not many artists work the same way an artist did 500 years ago, And it said artists in the time that had their subjects sit for multiple sittings, because when what's the dude's name? Real quick. His wife, Francisco del Giocondo wife, which is Lisa Gherardini, which is the lady on the right of me, the Mona Lisa painting, she had to come in for multiple sittings. That's the way they did it back then. That's the way they painted pictures back then. So they come in for multiple sessions for a couple years. Where was I? And it says the artists in that time had their subjects sit for multiple sittings and could go on for days to get essential sketchings done and working for the portrait. It says some artists require extensive hours and days sitting and viewing their their subjects, which is the person, the person that they're painting. And it says, and then dealing with the median, working in detail and backgrounds. And just for perspective, it said that Leonardo worked on the Mona Lisa, which is the picture on the right, for at least 4 years. It says maybe longer. Not continuous work, of course, but developing the painting over time. And for the brothers that don't know, Leonardo, it was either between, because they lived around the same time. It most likely it was probably both of them, because you do the research. It said that they was both in competition. Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci during the time they lived around the same time. And I believe that Leonardo da Vinci was 48 and Michelangelo was 25. But they painted this, which is Cesare Borgia on the right of me, the son of Pope Alexander the Sixth, I believe, and they painted him to be the son, the only begotten son of the Most High. But my question is, where did Yahawashi, who the world calls Jesus Christ, his real name is Yahawashi in the Hebrew. Where did Yahawashi have the time? Because according to the research, how to paint a realistic portrait, it said that it takes 3 to 4 years to paint these pictures in multiple sessions. And what did Yahawashi say in the scriptures? I'm gonna get it. What did Yahawashi say in the scriptures? He said, let me get it real quick. This is Luke chapter 2 verse 49. He said, it says, and he said unto them, how is it that ye sought me? Because his parents was looking for him at the time when he was in Jerusalem, questioning basically the wise men, doctors and all that stuff. And they was astonished by the answers that Yahawashi gave him. But his parents was looking for him. And I'm going to just read up a verse. It says, and when they saw him, they were amazed. And his mother said unto him, Son, why hast thou dealt with us? Behold, thy father and I have sought thee sorrowing, because they was looking for him. He was gone for 3 days, and at that time he was like 12 years old, Yahawashi. And this is the answer that he gave them. In verse 49, it says, and he said unto them, how is it that ye sought me? Wit ye not that I must be about my father's business? He told his mother and his father that he must be about his father's business. Basically, he didn't have the time, to deal with worldly stuff. Yahawashi didn't have time for that. Yahawashi was sitting on the earth for the one mission, to do the will of his father. It says that multiple times in the New Testament. I must be about my father's business. I must do the will of my father. Actually, Yahawashi was so busy, the scripture says that he didn't even have a place to lay his head. The scripture says that the foxes have dens, and the bird, I believe it says the birds have nests, but the Son of Man have nowhere to lay his head. Why? Because he was too busy doing the work of his father, traveling, spreading the gospel, the good news, But this all happened, and the scriptures talk about this, because the scriptures say that they was going to do this. Esau, the Edomites, which is so-called white people, was going to basically white out the image of the Most High and his people. Because not only Yahawashi is painted like this, but his people is. Look at the Jew rats over there in Israel. They're not the real Israelites. Most importantly, they got leprosy. Being of that so-called white skin, that's leprosy. That's leprosy of the skin. But they have what you call clean leprosy. But this is the scripture says. This is First Maccabees chapter 3 verse 48. And it says, and laid open the book of the law wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. And that's what, well, during that time it did happen in the Maccabees, but it definitely happened, again, especially during the times of the Renaissance, where Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo was basically going around, knocking down the statues that we had built up and painting it in their likeness, But where was that? But yeah, but the scripture says Yahawashi looks something like this, and I got the scriptures on the sign, well-known GMS sign, right here. That scripture right there is Revelation chapter 1 and 1:13 through 15, and that's Daniel's chapter 10 verse 5. But I'm gonna just grab one. This is Revelations and Shalaki. I got kind of coming down with a cold, so bear with me, Shalaki. This is Revelation chapter 1 verse 13. It says, and in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, Yahawashi, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle, like you see in this picture. It says, and his head and his hairs were white like wool. The painting of Caesar Borgia, he doesn't even have, first of all, he doesn't even have white hair. Second of all, his hair is not even woolly, and it says as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burnt in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. Because Yahawashi, he had especially when he was preaching the gospel, they didn't have microphones back then, so he had to have a loud voice. As the scripture says, a voice of the sound of many waters. So that's what he looked like. And it says fine brass, as if they burn in a furnace. Brothers say this all the time. If you put anything in a furnace, it's not gonna get lighter, it's gonna get darker. So that was just real quick info that I had gathered up through the spirit. But with that, I want to give all praises to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, and peace and blessing to y'all brothers, and Shalawam.